Hello, Dr. Potter and staff. This is John Higgins representing Group 1 for the MBAD 6330 course. Today I'm going to be presenting to you an overview of the faculty guide that we developed for the management of international applied learning projects. And here's an overview of what I will be covering today. These topics coincide and represent the elements that make up the actual faculty guide. Our goal, as prescribed initially, was to create a faculty guide for the successful management of international applied learning projects. We had just about 7 weeks to accomplish the faculty guide that met both critical to function and critical to quality components that I'll describe a little bit later in this presentation. Importantly, though, you'll see as I walk you through this guide that we did not limit it to just the faculty within the JUSP or the Joint U.S.-Swiss program that's ongoing. Part of the critical to function components that we wanted to hit was that the guide be translated to other disciplines within RMU or other applied student learning programs that RMU might want to undertake in the future. Therefore, we took some of the best practices from the JUSP and some of the lessons learned from the JUSP and also from subject experts that have been involved in the JUSP and generalized those lessons within the faculty guide itself. Our guiding components and elements are listed here on this slide within either critical to function or critical to quality. The critical to function elements of the guide meet the elements that you were initially looking for when we started out this project 7 weeks ago, and the critical to quality components also meet what you were looking for in terms of the faculty guide itself. The elements were essential in making a guide that will solve current and future problems, increasing the efficiency of the program and increasing the transparency of the program. We wanted to create a guide that can be easy to use as well, and where the processes can be repeatable over time from advisor to advisor. So we took a project management approach to building the guide that included 52 project management steps, and we had a number of deliverables along the way. Most important throughout this project was the interaction with the subject experts that have been involved with the JUSP program in the past. Their input was invaluable to us in trying to create a guide for future projects. What we discovered was that RMU currently has an outstanding set of practices and dedicated advisors that are currently working on this program. If the current practices, though, are codified into a faculty guide, then this program can easily be replicated across RMU into other disciplines throughout RMU. As I mentioned, having the repeatable processes throughout time and departments is an important reason why this guide is essential. The elements of the guide can easily be transferred and repeated to other disciplines besides just those within the business realm or business students. The learning objectives, for instance, for any international program are very similar across a wide range of disciplines for all undergraduate students. So I'm going to transition now to the faculty guide. I'm going to walk you through each page or element of the guide as you saw the critical elements to the guide. We wanted the guide to be just that, a guide. So we want to hit the larger points and themes and make it easy to use. For that reason, each element takes up only one page. However, in the future, you could easily expand upon that and expand upon the guide and include things like checklists, interview templates, and so on as you develop best practices from the program. The introduction starts off the guide. In the introduction, we talk about the benefits for both the student and the faculty being involved in the program. The introduction is meant to garner buy-in and motivation for the program. It's a difficult program for faculty to manage, so we also talk about the challenges. For instance, time management and dedication is very important for faculty involved in this program. The faculty can act as counselors, parent figures, teachers, advisors, and administrators. This is on top of all their daily tasks as well. But what we want to drive home here is during the introduction is that this program can be a life-changing event for both students and faculty. And finally, we talk about how the guide can improve upon lessons learned by creating a one-stop shop for standardization that's going to allow for that transparency, effectiveness, and efficiency of the management of the program. Next, we look at 4 guiding principles for the faculty to understand. We broke down the guide into 4 so that they're easy to understand and remember, and this is similar to an organization creating strategic goals. So mission support is saying, hey, don't forget that the ultimate aim of this program is to enrich the students and support the missions of both universities that are involved in this program. Developing partnerships, also critical here, and that's critical to both students and faculty. So we want to create strong partners in the business world that are the clients, but then also with other universities to support the overall mission. Also, let's not forget about improving this program every year. So that's another guiding principle. We embrace ideas that come from the international students and the faculty involved in the program itself. So that is another guiding principle. And finally, we use this program to open up a new world to students. So some of the students may have never been outside of the country. So let's use this program to embrace the other cultural ideas and come away with different problem-solving methods. So historically within the JOSP client acquisition or finding business organizations who want to support this program with both money and time in exchange for a deliverable has been on the Swiss University. The Swiss have a dedicated department that handles client acquisition, and so far they've been very successful at it. By having the Swiss handle the client acquisition, it really eliminates a lot of administrative and logistical costs and time for RMU. However, should RMU want to be more involved in client acquisition in the future, there's some takeaways that we can take from the Swiss. First, market to those organizations who would benefit from this program. Is it a company seeking entry into the U.S. or a company who needs data at this level? Is it large? Is it small? Next, we can use word of mouth, such as the alumni network, to seek out those companies that we previously identified, and we can ask the staff and the students. They might feel that a smaller company is more advantageous for this program. And next is plan. And this is going to be well ahead of the students actually meeting any of the clients. Planning in advance is very important. Lastly, let the companies know what you can offer. So have a strong list of deliverables or services that this program can provide the client or the business. There's a lot of institutional support required from both universities, so we broke it out into some phases to make it easier to understand. Initiation and execution of finding clients, that's getting financial funding, finding students and faculty and getting them where they need to be with the resources that they need to get the job done. Following that, we need communication with the client and with the students and the faculty and how each is supporting one another. This is followed by providing the client with what they need, so whatever deliverables are required there. And finally, we close it out with the final project, and then we take away any lessons learned in order to continue enhancing the program year over year. So the faculty can make or break the program. Some of the more critical traits and characteristics to look for in the faculty is listed on this slide. I'll start off with the faculty experience. So have they worked with business in the past? Time management is another important aspect here. Do they have great time management, as in the ability to juggle multiple things at once? Are they motivated? Are they willing to put a lot into the program and support both the students and the program? The selection process can become easier if faculty is selected and then rotated year over year, but then that would also require mentorship and trying to develop the next generation of faculty advisors. Student selection is a little bit more straightforward, but still crucial to maintaining the program. We also want to ensure that there are a steady stream of students interested in the program year over year. Therefore, throughout the guide, we've included the student benefits of the program so that the faculty can then translate that down to the student. This slide lists the items that RMU has used in the past to select students, and we feel that this is a pretty good selection requirement. The project management side for the client really begins with a full understanding of what the client wants. So the faculty will be heavily involved in this process. Ultimately, this sets the foundation for having a successful program for the student. So this is where the groundwork begins. Again, we broke this out into phases to make it easy for the faculty to understand, and we also recommend archiving projects that have been worked on in the past for future education and for lessons learned. Again, you'll see that the lessons learned is a big theme throughout the guide so that we can steadily enhance the program year over year. Thus far, the program's been successful in utilizing the suite of Microsoft, so we recommend continuing to utilize that practice. And also, we what went right and what went wrong, and most importantly, how we can improve the program and the faculty guide from those lessons learned. The faculty and student interaction is also important. We have students who have likely never worked on a project of this magnitude, especially on an international level. The faculty then therefore must be ready to heavily interact with the students, and that can be a challenge for them. So in this guide, we included links for successful communication and also our ideas for communication process flow. As I mentioned earlier, the faculty really should be ready to act by wearing a number of different hats. They might find themselves counseling or being a parent figure, and this is to someone who is in a different country. We have 6 or so students involved in a program at one time, depending if it stays the same as it is now. And these students have never communicated within the business world. We all know that business communication has its own unwritten rules, and it takes some experience to kind of get used to those rules. However, we don't have the time when we're with the students for the 6 months or so, so we need to speed up that process. And again, the faculty has to be very hands-on. So the faculty might even have to review each piece of communication that's being sent out to the client from the student. So within this guide, we talk about the skills needed, the 3 levels of successful communication, how to properly use technology, and again, finally some tips on how to make communication successful. Our last element of the guide is the learning objectives for the students. There are a number of learning objectives that the faculty can create. We boiled it down to 4 with some sub-objectives for each. How can the students demonstrate a cultural awareness? Are they interacting and understanding the differences in business culture? Second, are they effectively communicating with stakeholders, team members, teammates, and then the client as well? Are they showing that they can analyze problems and develop solutions to those problems? And finally, are they coming away from this program with an overall better understanding of global business issues? So if we go about designing a program around these objectives, that will likely increase the effectiveness of the program for both the students and the clients. As I mentioned, we utilize a number of sources throughout the guide, and these are in addition to the subject experts from both universities. And here are the sources continued. And that concludes our presentation on the faculty guide for the management of the International Applied Learning Project Program. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. I hope you enjoyed the guide. More importantly, I hope that you find that the guide can be applied to not just the JUST program as it stands now, but other programs within RMU across disciplines. We feel that the joint program has been a huge success for both the faculty and the students at RMU, and we wanted to take some of those successful practices, put them onto paper so it can be replicated throughout RMU for this and other future programs. So again, thank you for the opportunity and thank you for your time.